So there are quite a number of catching drills that you can do with your young goalkeepers. And the key really is to vary the distance and the speed of the ball as you do these drills. So don't have the goalkeeper stand in just one place while you throw the ball back and forth. Have them move forward and backwards, have them move laterally, have the balls go fast, have them go slow. It's just simply important to vary the different conditions under which they're going to catch the ball. Also, it's important to place the ball in different locations, to do it at chest height, low, do it high, do it to one side of the body a bit, do it to the other. All of these help to give you catching skills under different conditions. It's important to look closely at the player's body stance, their hand positioning, and the technique as they catch the ball. And so the key things really are that you want the knees bent slightly, the body upright, and to have their weight a bit forward on the balls of their feet. The arms want to be slightly bent at the elbows and withdraw their arms when they catch the ball, which effectively slows down the speed, cushions it, and allows the goalkeeper to control it better. High catches, the hands are going to make a W shape, really with a triangle between the fingers and the thumbs, and catch behind the ball with the fingers slightly on top of it. And for the low catches, the hands are going to make an M shape and catch the ball in the arms and curl them into the chest. So you'll see some of this in the next video segment. Good. Last one. Nice, right, Sarah, you're right. Good. 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 Last one. Good. Here we're going to talk about good dives and good diving form, and then problems that can happen when young goalkeepers do diving. Good diving technique really involves starting with a proper body stance, moving what we call their power step leg forward, which is the leg on the side of the dive, with the knee bent quite a bit far forward so the body is down lower, rolling the body over the knee, essentially to the ground with the arms outstretched all at the same time. The hands are slightly apart, so they would be the right distance apart to catch the ball, and the entire side of the player contacts the ground at one time. Typical problems that you'll see when kids are beginning to train for diving is they may hit their elbow first on the ground, which they might do basically to try to brace themselves because they're afraid to go all down at once. This in effect slows the body down and they lose time. A second kind of problem you may see is the arms are not outstretched, as the dive needs to be made with the arms outstretched at the same time. So in this type of problem, you'll see the arms stretch out after they hit the ground, and again, that reduces the speed of getting the hands to the ball. Another problem you may see is that they dive with the arms and hands too far apart, and the ball can get through their hands as a result of that. And then rather than diving on the side, they may tend to be more on the belly or on their back as they make the dive. And again, this makes catching the ball more difficult. So you'll see some of these problems in the next video segment. What we're going to show next is the technique of a side cover on a ground ball. Previously, we had shown a forward cover where the goalkeeper essentially comes out, covers the ball with the head towards the front of where the attacker might be coming from, and essential to keep the head down to protect the keeper. Here, this side cover is an alternative to a forward cover with the head down. Basically, it is a come out and a collapse dive onto the ball at a forward angle, and the head is positioned behind the hands and behind the ball for protection, and the knee is in front of the body and is positioned up to protect the body. So the side cover is essentially thinking of it as a slide towards the ball on the side, and is just a different technique to get to the ball quickly. And some keepers prefer to do that as they feel it may give them a little better protection than the forward cover. Both techniques are fine, but here we'll show you the side cover as an alternative.
Go. Good. High volley, Carla.
What am I doing?
Go. Good. Sarah, you're up. Fast, fast, fast. Good. Thank you.
In this next segment, we're going to show diving and catching the ball with lateral and forward movement. This is important because you're actually going to be catching balls as a goalkeeper and diving while you're moving. Very infrequently would the player be simply standing stationary to make these kinds of saves. The drills that you can do integrate essentially movement with diving and catching, and that trains the goalkeepers under more realistic conditions. There's a wide variety of ways, to set up your cones to do this. We're going to show you in the next segment just one way to do it. The cones here are set up to make the goalkeeper step forward and then sidestep laterally, and then to come forward a bit to either dive or catch the ball. It's important to serve up the balls as the movements are made rather than allow the goalkeeper to stop and then catch the ball, because that's a more realistic condition. This can be used for low dives, chest catches, and high catches. All three of these are shown. And again, it's important for the coach to look for proper technique, including the body position, and avoid moving the hands until the ball is actually served to the goalkeeper.
But never.
Good. Go again.
If you go like this.
Good. One more. Good. Another one. Nice. Another one. Good. Good. Do another one. No. All right, one more. I want it quicker. Yeah, another one. Go. Go.
Mama knows you're doing that.
Sarah.
Doggy. Behind you this time.
Good. One more. Go. Ah.
This next segment deals with high dives and deflecting shots that'll come up higher in the goal mouth than a typical low dive. These are more difficult to train for because the high dives basically involve propelling the goalkeeper out and up using the power step leg to help spring up and out, rather than simply falling to the ground. So this takes a lot more training to be able to do this, and certainly to dive really high up into the upper corner of the goal is something that really only happens when the kids get to an older and more advanced age. It is useful for deflecting air shots that are mid to high in the goal frame. And the key is to power step with the dive side leg and then use that leg to spring out sideways and upwards. Again, that takes quite a bit of training to do, but you can certainly start it in the way that we're going to show in the next video segment. It's important to make sure that the goalkeepers are instructed to use the high hand to deflect the ball from going into the goal. In the next segment, we show one of the goalkeepers using their low hand also, but it's important that they understand that the high hand is going to be able to get them to be able to reach higher into the goal frame to potentially deflect the ball.
Ready, go. Upper arm. Ready, go. Good. Ready, go.
In the next segment, you'll see how you can train a young goalkeeper to be able to tip a high shot over the crossbar. This is something that doesn't happen frequently, but if they get a high shot which they're really not able to catch or deflect, which would really be in the upper last foot within the goal frame, basically it's a high dive that goes straight upwards or maybe out at a slight angle. The goalkeeper judges that the ball cannot be caught or deflected off to the side. The goalkeepers essentially use one or both legs, depending upon their position, to spring up and out. So essentially it's a lot like making a high jump in basketball to get a rebound. One or both of the hands can be used, and essentially you're going to use the fingers of the hand to tip the ball backwards and over the bar. And of course this does set up a corner kick by the attacking team, but that's better than allowing a goal to go in. So this is really one of these last resorts kind of saves when the ball is just too high for the goalkeeper to deal with it in a different way. And the practice really doesn't have to involve having an actual goal. You can just serve the ball up to your young goalkeeper and have them practice jumping up high, getting a little bit of vertical jump off the ground, as you'll see in this clip, a few inches, and then just tipping the ball up and over to the rear as if the crossbar was there.
Got it.
Yep.
This next segment talks about and shows defending the goal with volley kicks. There are times when the goalkeeper cannot always get to the ball using their hands with either a catch or a deflection. So this is teaching them the ability to use their feet to volley kick the ball out of the goal. And that certainly counts as a save, and the ball can either be on the ground, bouncing, or in the air. Now, the vast majority of kids are going to have some familiarity with volley kicking a ball on the field. This is really using the same skill and just making them aware that they can do this as a goalkeeper also to defend the goal when it doesn't look possible to be able to get to the ball in a different fashion. So this is one where it may be quicker for them to get to the ball and volley it out with their foot than trying to save the ball in a different way. A volley kick can essentially lift the ball over the opponent's heads and provide distance if done properly. And the technique uses the plant foot behind the ball and the instep to lift it, similarly to a volley kick on the field. The goalkeeper may also use an outstretched lower leg or a shin to deflect a shot that's coming at them on a low shot. So this shows 2 or 3 examples of a volley kick in this next segment.
Ready? Go.
Like that?
Yeah, I like that.
He said to.
Ready? Goalkeeper stance. Go.
This next segment deals with defending one-on-ones and breakaways. And this is one of the most difficult plays for a goalkeeper to make. But it also becomes a fairly common play in youth games, as defenders tend to be a little less skilled and allow fast attackers to get by them by themselves more often for a breakaway. So this really requires a fair amount of training for the young goalkeeper in setting up the situations where they can practice this. Initially, the most important thing is it requires the goalkeeper to not be afraid to come out and then judging the timing of the attacker. And again, that simply takes practice and repetitions. The goalkeeper has to come out, make himself or herself big with the hands at the ready and cutting the shooting angle. Usually you expect a low shot at the younger ages, so the hand should be low and the knee should be bent, as we'll be showing in the next video segment. There's really three basic choices a goalkeeper can make, is to come out and shadow the attacker and wait for the shot, or for the attacker to make a mistake and then go for the ball. The situation where you have the 50-50 ball, where the goalkeeper needs to decide to go for the ball if it gets away from the attacker and hope to win it. And then there are the situations where the goalkeeper decides that the ball is closer to him or her than it is to the attacker, and the goalkeeper goes right for the ball and hopefully wins it. The practice really is just to do one-on-one plays with an attacker and a goalkeeper, and again, just to have as many repetitions as possible. The goalkeeper can attempt to save the ball by diving on it, or simply deflecting it with their foot, if that's going to be the quickest way for them to do it.
Good. You're done.
In this next segment, we show free kicks and what the goalkeepers need to do to position themselves and defend against a free kick. And essentially it involves teaching young goalkeepers where to be to defend against a direct free kick. These can be the most dangerous if they become air balls that might drop near the goal or go over the goalkeepers' heads. These are less likely at younger ages than balls that may have just a little bit of height and come on the ground. The goalkeeper should be in front of the goal a few yards, but not so far that the ball could fly over their head. And the catching skills for chest level and high shot supply, as well as possibly a low dive. And the practice, as we show in the video, involves positioning kickers in different places and having one or more defenders between the kicker and the goalkeeper to make more realistic. Here we show an assistant coach basically kneeling, so they would simulate the height at a young age of a defender. And a corner kick situation would be similar, except the defenders would be positioned on the near and far posts of the goal as well as in the center area. But the principle of defending the kick is the same.
Okay. Do a couple more. Yeah, if they don't get it. Okay. Another one.
There's also an opportunity for coaches to set up offense, defense plays with the goalkeeper. For example, we'll show in the next segment 1v1 play with a goalkeeper. So there's an attacker and a defender, and then the goalkeeper defending the goal. This becomes really a more realistic situation than just having the kids practice with the usual shots that a coach could make to them. And this is important because the goalkeepers can practice playing the space near the goal, as many goals are scored in the box and close in. So scrimmage play may not give goalkeepers enough practice shots, so this is a way they can get more close-in practice shots just by setting up this play model. So set up an attacker and a defender who play one-on-one near the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper has to judge if the shot might come and how to best defend it. This should provide as many repetitions as possible to allow the goalkeeper to use various skills under realistic conditions. And you can also use 2-on-1 versus a goalkeeper and 3-on-1 to make it even more realistic and a little more challenging. And the coach can also have the defender apply less pressure to allow more shots for the goalkeeper to practice on. So you'll see a few scenarios here in the next video segment.
Ready?